Tango con lo que tengo.
Hello, I'm Blas Rivera, broadcasting now our second season podcast named Tango con lo que tengo. I'm still here in the neighborhood of Santa Teresa in Rio de Janeiro, very close to Corcovado. Tango con lo que tengo.
This is chapter 80. Wow, what a number. It seems that we started yesterday. But no. 80 is an eternity. Whatever. 80 is a lot. 80 years, 80 miles, 80 beers, 80 pounds around the world in 80 lemons, 80 books, 80 violinists, 80 tracks, 80 vaccines, 80 concerts, 80 times she told me no. 80 canyons shots, 80 warnings, 80 submarine miles, 80 kilohertz, 80 neighborhoods, 80 bars, 80% of the votes, 80% of the arteries, 80 military bases, 80 stories, 80 branches, 80 millimeters is a lot, 80 drops, 80% of whatever. And here we are, with the same microphone in the same little closet close to Corcovado. At the beginning, this little podcast was called And Never Came Back. Y nunca más volvió. And if I think deep down in the kitchen of my soul, it is still called the same, but after a while it came to be called Tango with What I Have. Something like Tango con lo que tengo. This, more than a title, is the description of what there is. And well, as a tribute, as a gift, we're going to play the same music that we played in the first chapter, 80 songs ago, Nocturno. Nocturno is a waltz that I composed as a tribute to Nino Rota, who was Federico Fellini's favorite composer. I could also say that I composed this in tribute to Fellini, which is where the wonderful Nino Rota's music dripped from. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I started this series of reviews with Nocturno, but I remember that in the first chapter there was a beautiful poem by an old friend of this program, the poet Adolfo Montejo, a fan of Athletic and who is always whistling from Paraná. And never came back. How I miss him. There is another difference today with that Nocturno. It was a version for a quartet. We were a bandoneon player, a violin, the eternal cello of Ernest Hemingway, which is worth 80, and piano, which has 88 keys. In this new version of today, we're again a piano, the cello, and a tenor sax, Chirolita. So we are a trio. I suggest that after listening to today's version, drink another wine, dig around a bit on YouTube and listen to that first version. I would very much like to know your opinions. Which one did you like the most? Why? What difference do you feel? Not only in the instruments, but in the feeling. If it's sadder or more, I don't know, intimate or brighter, nostalgic, etc. Whatever. Nocturno is a little waltz that King Kong likes so much to dance. Let's see what happened to our souls in these 80 weeks of the pandemic. Another characteristic of Nocturno, let's say a symptom, is that it suffers the minor major effect that we talked about in last week's podcast. Nocturno begins somewhat dark in a nostalgic G minor, sort of cloudy, and in the middle the window opens wide for the sun to set, huge G major. There comes Nocturno. Let's see what you think. And here I leave you a little gift. We discovered it on the cello rehearsing a bit G minor. Bravo, David.
Muchas gracias y hasta siempre.
Tango, con lo que tengo.